Good morning, everybody. I thought that video was smaller. I'm standing here. Oh, I'm already ready. I'm so glad to see you here today. To those who don't know me, my name is Lorene Macias. Lorene Macias, whatever you want to call me, that is my name. And I'm glad to see you guys here today. Some of you might question, why is that trash can there? That's because in case I throw up, I'm just kidding. No, it's there for an example, okay? How many of you guys are ready? You guys ready? How many of you guys like love stories? Yes, you guys love love stories or like them? Well, today I'm going to share a story with you. I'm going to share with you my love story with my husband, of course. And I'm going to tell you how I met my husband, okay? My husband and I met 22 years ago. We met when we were 16 years old, okay? Let's see, where's that picture? Aww, look at my little cowboy. I remember that one of my best friends at that moment and I wanted to join a club because back then you had to be in clubs in order to qualify for college or universities. So my best friend and I went to this place, went to a classroom, and we went to a club that my husband had created, that he made specifically for Hispanic students. So my friend and I decided to show up. And he was talking, and he was saying, hey, this is what's going to be happening. This is what we're going to be doing. And he was also recruiting people. He was recruiting people to be part of the club's committee. He needed a treasurer. He needed a secretary. So my friend and I decided to say, okay, yes, we're going to help. I became the treasurer. My friend became the secretary. And I'm going to be honest, because I'm at church. When I met my husband, when I met Oliver, I thought he was good looking because he was. No, he still is. But here's the kicker. I thought he was very conceited. Okay? He was presumido en eso. He still is. No, I'm just kidding. I really didn't like him at all because I guess at that time he's for you guys that know my husband, he's a perfectionist. He likes things done right. So when we started to work in the club, I didn't really like him because of that. But as we continued to work together in this club, he started to grab my attention. And I started to like him. And so I eventually declared myself to my husband, okay? And I told him, hey, I really like you. But he said, no, señorita, I only want to be friends, okay? That's what he told me, yes. But our friendship grew until we became something else. So 22 years later, guess what? Who won? I did. All right, so our love was not a love at first sight. I had to work for it. I recently heard this quote that I like that it says, love at first sight is nothing special. It's when two people have been looking at each other for years that it becomes a miracle. And there is some truth to that, at least for me, because the initial emotion of falling in love, it's wonderful. But it's not enough to bear the weight of a relationship. And in week 1 of this series, we talked about 4 kinds of love that we find in Scripture. And the first one that we talked about was, I don't want to jinx it, Eros. I keep saying that like if it's money. Eros, which is the romantic, the sexual type of love that Letty explained to us in week 1. Then we have the love storge, which is family love. And we have, I'm going really fast and those fills are fast, huh? Sorry, guys. And the third love is philia, which is the brotherly, the friendship type of love. And last but not least, we have the agape, which is the unconditional, sacrificial, selfless, God type of love. And we're in this series called Love Is. Love is, but it can also be called What Love Is Not, because the main verse that this series is based on talks about 7 verbs that tells us what love is and 8 verbs that tells us what love is not. So we're going to go back to our main verse, which is 1 Corinthians 13, 4-8. And if you guys want to read it with me, yes? 1, 2, 3. Love is patient. Love is kind. It does not envy. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Amen. And this is how the Bible defines love, this agape type of love. And it might not be what you think, but this is how God describes it. This is how God thinks love is. And today we're going to continue discovering what love is, which brings me to my first point, which is love is an action that feelings follow. We often think and we look at culture and think feelings lead the way and it develops to love. But I actually think that it works the opposite way. A professor called Dr. Elaine Wessler studied the differences between compassionate love and passionate love. And she interviewed and observed about 100,000 people. And guess what she found? She said, I found that for most couples that have intense passion, is the feeling associated with falling in love. That love only lasts about 6 to 2.5 years. So if you're newlyweds, sorry, that's a bummer. But feelings are temporary. They come and they go. But love is more than just a feeling, it's an action. You can act your way to feelings, but you can rarely feel your way to action. And if there's feelings involved there, then you might not act on it. There won't be much you can do. For example, if at the beginning of the year you said, hey, I'm going to start going to the gym, but you only go when you feel like it, nothing is going to happen. And here's the thing, you can command your feelings, but you can't command feelings. You can only command action. I can command you to jump, right? Victor, jump. Jump. Yes, but I can't command him to feel jumpy the whole time, can I? I can't command him to smile. Rosie, smile. But I can't command her to feel joy or feel happy. It is the same way when God commands us to love him, to love our neighbors, to love our spouses, and to love our enemies. He's not commanding us to feel something, but he's actually telling us to do something about it, which comes to our second feel, which is love is a challenge that Jesus is calling us to accept. Love is a challenge that Jesus is calling us to accept. And it goes far beyond feelings. We don't just fall into these type of feelings. We don't just stumble into this love. The way we answer to the call of love is through John 34:35. It says, so now I am giving you a new commandment. Love each other. Just as I have loved you, you should love each other. Your love for one another will prove to the world that you are my disciples. And this is a unique love. It's not it's a other-centered, other-focused. I'm thinking about you, whether it's not good for me. That is the type of agape love that Jesus shows us and is extending, and he's challenging us to extend to others. Hey, I know it's a challenge to show this agape love, especially when you're married. Or when you have a roommate that doesn't clean, when you have kids. Hey, it's a challenge to go out our door every single morning and show this love, right? But it becomes a real challenge when somebody hurts us. And then we hear those words that Jesus says, love each other as I loved you. And you're like, wait a second. Jesus displayed this extraordinary love from the cross when before he was about to die, when he says, Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they are doing. And if we look at Luke 6:27, it says, but to you who are willing to listen. And sometimes it's hard to hear, right? Sometimes our ears don't work when we get hurt. I say, love your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Anybody else having a hard time with this? Some of you are saying, hey, I have a hard time with the person I came with, right? And now we're talking about we have to love the people that hurt us and love the people who surround us. And if we go back to 1 Corinthians 13:5, we're just going to read the section that says, love is not easily angered. That is also a challenge. Don't be easily angered. And of course, this is talking about relationships, but I find it very easy to get angry over not winning a game of Catan. If you haven't played that game board, play it. Or maybe some would say, just that game? No, you get angry if you don't win in any game. But here's the thing. When I'm playing with my family and they're winning, I'm all for it. But when they start ganging up against me, then I find myself getting a little bit worked up. And Joyce likes to play a game where she wants to say, how long can mom last before she gets angry? So I find myself having to remember that this is just a game, that I shouldn't get worked up so easily. We all can get angry really easy for some random stuff too. Love isn't easily provoked. It is not irritable, does not fly off the handles. Love is not thin-skinned. And I heard someone say this phrase recently too that says, if I'm easily offended, I will be easily defeated. And this statement is so true, especially when you're applying it to this type of love, this agape love, because it's so hard. Because sometimes we see social media, we see the news, we see something that's happening, and immediately we go off on that, what's going on, right? Maybe not to the world, but we go off to the people who are there. If we let that stuff happen, then we're going to be easily defeated. A few weeks ago, my husband and my son got me hooked on this game called Beast Games. And if you haven't heard of them, it's in Prime. Go watch it. It's an interesting reality show. And by the second to last episode, when they were about to close the game, two players did something that left me like this. I was so upset. I kept talking about it for 2 days, and if I think a little bit about it, it still makes me a little bit angry on why these players did what they did. And I had to remember, this is just a game. I have nothing to do with it, but it was affecting me, like if they were offending me. So I have to remember not to allow these angry feelings or sad feelings to penetrate my heart. The same goes for you guys. Sometimes we can get easily offended by things that happen, by things that we see. And today I encourage you to remember this agape love, to not allow this type of stuff to come into your heart, whether you agree with it, whether you disagree with it, whether you like it or you don't like it. Don't react to it. Don't be easily defeated. And if we look at Proverbs 29:11, it says, fools vent their anger, but the wise quickly hold it back. And I'm going to ask you a question, and you don't have to answer it. You don't have to raise your hand. But how many of you get easily angered? Don't point at other people either. Ask yourselves, what happens to you when you get mad? Have you ever thought of to ask that question? What is the first response that you think, at least that I can remember right now, that happens to you when you get angry, when you get mad? Does your face turn red? Some people turn green, like the Hulk. You start sweating. And I went to look to see what happens when you become angry. And the clinical description of angry, this is what it says. It says, anger triggers the body to fight or flight. The adrenal glands flood the body with stress hormones, such as adrenaline and cortisol. The brain shunts blood away from the gut towards the muscles, okay? In preparation of a physical exertion, heart rate, blood pressure, and respiration increases. The body temperature rises and the skin purprizes. The mind sharpens and is focused. So that's what happens to you every time you get angry. This type of angry is good if you're going to war, if you're being chased by a lion. But what happens when you're in the road and the person in front of you is going slow? Somebody's like, don't look at me. This anger is not good. Unresolved anger can lead to an end of a relationship. And if we go to James 1:19, it says, understand this, my dear brothers and sisters, you must all be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. And if you ask my husband, he's going to say that I am an expert in speaking slow and listening. Not really. We have to learn to listen and be slow to speak and slow to get angry. I'm sure several of you would say that you have been hurt, that you have been mistreated, that you have been abandoned, abused, and wronged. And all of these are legitimate reasons why we should be angry. But we have to learn how to deal with that anger. It's not that we're never going to get angry. Yes, we're going to get angry. It's part of life. But ask yourself today, how is that anger affecting my relationships? And I'm going to mention a few scenarios that are a big lie we tell ourselves. Okay, scenarios. Here is, I can be angry at this one person right here. And I'm going to say, Belle. I'm not angry at her, but I'm using her as an example. And I can love all these people over here. That is a lie. We can't separate it. I can be upset at work and come home and take it out on my family. I can be upset at home and take it out with the people that I work with. I can be mad at the last one who cheated on me and be terrible to the one who's faithful. I can punish someone who loves me for what someone else did to me. And this is all true for all of us, but the reality is what I don't repair, I will repeat. You know, it's kind of like those arguments that we do sometimes over and over again. We need to understand a couple of things in repairing. It's about my part of the relationship. I can't repair you. I can't repair Oliver. I can only work on me and hope that we can work together. But we have to understand something, that maybe our repair efforts might not be appreciated. That doesn't mean that we don't begin a conversation of repair by saying, when you said this, you hurt me. It's not when you said, I want to rip your face off and I hope you get hemorrhoids. That's not a conversation of repair. That's a raging conversation. So how does it look like? Taking a small step forward. I know it's hard. You might even say, oh no, I've tried that already. I've tried it, it doesn't work. Well, maybe if you have, you need to start learning some boundaries in that relationship. Learn what's healthy for you. And let's look at 1 Corinthians again, 13, verse 4-5. It says, love keeps no wrongdoings, no record of wrongdoings. And slow to anger hinges. It's like right there with keep no record of wrongdoings, because I'm just waiting for something to anger me, right? It's just there, ready to go, especially if we have this list already lingering. I've been wronged, I've been hurt in the past. Then anything that happens, whether it's new or it's not new, we have it right there. It smells like it, so hey, I'm right here with this list. And we react to it. Earlier, I said that Oliver and I met 22 years ago. And Oliver and I have been married almost 20 years now. And do you think that Oliver hasn't created or accumulated any wrongs against me in the last 20 years? Of course, we both have, but we have to learn not to linger on those things, to have conversations right away, to not keep records of our wrongdoings. Are we good at it? No, but we are still working on it, and we continue to learn and to grow. And I recently learned that my husband and I are entering a new stage in our lives, and we are entering the 4th floor. And if you guys didn't understand that joke, yes, we're turning 40 this year. I know I don't look like it, but we're starting to forget things more constantly. And he's thinking, no, that's a lie. But here's the thing. I want to give you an example. We're getting ready for this family trip we're about to have in a couple weeks. And my husband needed some shorts. So he bought some from Amazon. We got some from Walmart. He had them. He tried them on. And that day I wasn't feeling so good. So I remember I was laying down in the bed and he said, I like the Walmart shorts. I'm going to keep the Walmart shorts because they fit better. Plus, they're cheaper. I said, perfect. So he put the Amazon shorts away in the little baggies they come in. And we left it at that. A few days later, I said, hey, I'm going to return the Amazon shorts. And this is the look I got. What? I thought I was keeping the Amazon shorts and returning the Walmart shorts. And I was like, no, that's not what you said. I remember that you even put them in the bag. So we went like in a little discussion there. We went back and forth. And he waited for a minute and he said, yes, I remember now. So he dropped it. For a second there, I was ready to go on the ring and be like, no, this is what you told me. If we keep count of our wrongdoings, we will pile them up and they will grow instantly. Remember that love doesn't keep records of our failures. Love forgives. This is a level 2 argument that could have become a level 10 fast. We have to be careful not to pile up those wrongdoings because a misunderstanding can be a legitimate reason for divorce. And I lied to you, this trash can is not for me to throw up. But some of us, this is our list. This represents our list. This one looks big. This is not mine. But some of you have a list this long. And we can go and say, oh, I remember when they did that to me. And you save it. Oh, I remember that one too. That one really hurt. Oof. That's one that I did to somebody else. I'm going to hide that one. But look at that. Look at that. Oh, and we cover them. And you know what we do every morning when we wake up? We wake up, and our list is right next to us. We wake up, we do what we got to do, and then we just grab it and we go along our day. You know why? Because if somebody comes and it smells or it looks like or it feels like something that somebody else already did, then we're going to go back to our list and we're going to be like, oh, I'm going to put this one right here so I can remember it. So I don't have to let go of it because we want to protect ourselves. By letting, and you know how we have to deal with this, how we can help each other grow with this is by letting it grow. Letting it go. Not letting it grow, letting it go. And what do we have to do? Is we have to throw it to the trash. This is what we have to do to our list. Does it hurt? It's painful. We can't just go like this and throw it all away. That doesn't happen. It has to be slowly. You have to let go of one by one. It will happen when you're ready. It will happen when you say, I choose to let it go. This won't hurt me anymore. You still might ask, but how do I do that? Right? When we're so full of these lists, I'm telling you that you can't do it unless you're receiving this agape love, this love that only God can give you. Because our instinct right away is to protect ourselves. The risk of repairing a relationship is so hard that we want to keep our list. We rather keep it right here with us instead of letting it go. So you have to determine if the risk is worth taking. In some situations, you might have to work a little bit hard for it. You might have to work intentionally because that relationship might be too risky. There's relationships that maybe that you're not going to repair, and it's okay. The thing is, you need to heal. You need to let God heal you. When Oliver and I were in our early stages of marriage, we created our own list. Everybody has their own list. You guys have your list, maybe smaller, but you guys have it. Some of us, you might even have a list for church. Some of you are probably new and thinking, oh, they're so friendly, they're so nice. You don't know us yet. We're a little bit messed up. And you guys can create your list for every single situation that happens in your life. But let's read what 1 Peter 4:8 says. Above all, love each other deeply, because love covers over a multitude of sins. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about covering each other and exposing each other. We're talking about expressing this type of love to one another. And I think the go-to relational verse is in Romans 12:18 that says, if it's possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. If it's possible. First of all, it's not always possible. But it says, but as far as it depends on you. Sorry, guys. I lost my spot here. If we go now to 1 Corinthians 13, First of Corinthians 13, it is not about healing all the wrongs in the world, political or culturally. It gets hard when it's about you and me, when it's face to face to the people that we have to heal with. That is when rubber meets the road, and this is where this next context comes from. What I hide, I won't heal. What I hide, I won't heal. Sometimes we hide behind our own list. Why are we hiding behind them? Because there's dangerous people out there. I can be dangerous if I say the wrong thing to you. I got to protect myself from you. I can't let any of this stuff that's here happen to me again. So I leave it right here. The idea of having to deal with this again hurts. I don't want to deal with it again, you might say. And if God is speaking to you right now, He knows exactly what you need to heal. You know, when we prepare these talks speak to us first. And I was telling my husband, I don't want to deal with that anymore. Open the door to this agape love. That closet can be cleaned, and we can be free. And sometimes when we get rid of it, because we get rid of it, sometimes it's easy to get rid of it. What do? We pick it back up because it was too hard. The healing part was too hard. In order to accomplish this walk, this command to love others, I have to learn to walk and receive this agape love. It begins right there. Jesus stopped at nothing to lavish His love for you and for me. He took the cross and He did it willingly and sacrificially. He knows you. He knows you better than anybody. And look at what it says in 1 Peter 5:7. It says, cast all your anxieties on Him because He cares for you. In order to walk in agape towards others, we have to receive and embrace this agape love. Jesus is calling us today to do that. So at this moment where you are at, if you can just close your eyes and think, maybe there's a relationship. Maybe it's with your spouse. Maybe it's with your kids. Maybe it's with a coworker. Even from somebody here at church. I encourage you to take that step to show this love that Jesus showed us, that He shows us every day, that He shows us constantly. It doesn't matter if we make a mistake. Jesus is right there. Why can't we be there for that person? We all have hurts, and Jesus knows them. Let go of those lists. Jesus, today I pray for every single person that is here. I pray that you encourage us to let go of the things that are hurting us, to let go of the things that don't belong in our heart. Let it you be the one to show us this agape love, this love that goes beyond us, Lord. Help us show it. Help us be it, Lord. And let it be you speaking to us of what our next steps are. In your name we pray. Amen.